Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Just a bit of an update. As you can see behind me, I'm still in my house. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a pregnancy and life update so you all know what's going on, because it is crazy. We were due to move house on the 29th of March and there was a delay on our buyer's side. Basically, their solicitors was just really slow. It was all going ahead, everything was right. They were just slow. So we should have moved on the 29th of March. And then we got a new date with our building provider, which is Barratt Homes, for the 6th of April, which was Friday just gone. And it got to that day and the solicitor still hadn't confirmed the date. So at 4:30 on Friday, Barratt's rang us and said, you have half an hour to confirm you can move next week from the solicitors, which you cannot contact other people's solicitors directly, or we're taking the house off you. And it's come out the blue. And we rang round and it got to 5 o'clock and they rang us saying you can't have the house anymore. So the next day we found another one with Barratt's and they wouldn't let us reserve that, even though we will be okay to move this week. It was just a little signature that was needed on something to do with the deeds of the house. So it wasn't actually on our side, our fault. It was with the buyers. And yeah, so we couldn't reserve a house with them. They've took some of our reservation fee. We're living in boxes. We were due to leave. I'm almost 22 weeks pregnant. And yeah, that is what happened. So I was very stressed out. I was having a few problems anyway, the pregnancy, which I'll talk about now. And my stress levels are quite high. So it's pretty rubbish. So we're just desperately trying to find a new place to live so we don't lose our buyer, because our house isn't big enough for having the baby. But we've had this reserved since December. It sold the first week of January. Our house, sold the first week of January. So this is just a nightmare. And I'm frankly so shocked at Barratt Homes, quite disgusted. And all the sales people at Barratt's were agreeing with us. They were actually heartbroken for us because they could hear me crying, saying, you know, I'm pregnant, we've got to move. And but it's come from the top, all the people that don't have to deal with customers. So yeah, I don't know if I updated you guys on the pains I was having in my tummy. So I'd pulled a muscle in my lower tummy where the baby's growing. And it got to the point I couldn't lift up my legs. I couldn't get out of bed. It was so painful. So I had to take a week off work, which added to more stress because I don't like time off work and I'm self-employed, so I don't get paid. So I had to pay people to cover me. So I lost money and I'm trying to save for maternity pay, and I was trying to rest, but then I didn't really end up resting because I had more admin and the stress of this house move. So luckily though, my tummy, touch wood, is a lot better. But from that, I think this is why it was so bad, is that I actually look pregnant now. I have a belly, but it's still like more of a little pouch than around. So I just think the tension from my abdominals and him growing so low, it's just uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. I feel like I'm waddling, like I'm 9 months pregnant and I've barely got a bump. I just think it is the extra weight. I have put on a few pounds actually the last couple of weeks. I think I've put on like 4 pounds, but my body fat actually looks less. So I think I must be gaining water and baby basically. So it has been, yeah, it's been testing. Around this sort of time as well, I know sort of 18 weeks onwards you get the round ligament pain, which I had a lot of ligament pain at the beginning, but it was different to what it is now. So I think it's a mixture of the ligament pain from the hormones, him growing, and my job doesn't really go with it, and the fact that my muscles are just really tight at the moment. So I'm trying to kind of stretch my tummy really lightly and like massage very gently just to loosen off my tummy a bit. The thing with me as well, if I eat a lot of dairy or if I'm stressed, my muscles all over my body get really tight. So I don't think that is helping the situation at all. We did have the 20-week scan last week, the anomaly scan. Oh, rubbish words. But we were almost 21 weeks at that time. So he's still measuring a little bit ahead of the IVF date, which is really confusing. So we don't know when he's due because he's measuring a week ahead of our IVF due date. But it was fantastic. We didn't realise what you got to see in this scan. So we got to see all parts of his brain, where his upper lip is. They try to see if they can see 10 fingers, 10 toes. His femur, the leg length. We got to see the 4 chambers of the heart, his kidneys, his liver, the spine from 2 angles. And he's definitely a boy, because he was doing what he did in the last scan, in our private scan, which was just flashing his bits all over the place. And as you'll see from the thumbnail, he didn't really look up. We kept trying, we kept poking him around to try and get him to look up instead of straight at the camera, but he awkwardly just looked at the camera like an alien. So we've got a stubborn child. He just wouldn't move. And then on the back of that, the next day I had spotting, so it was quite dark brown, and then it went a bit red, so I was panicking and I couldn't feel him move. And I was telling myself it was okay because we saw him the day before, and the sonographer was really happy with him. He was, moving around, kicking about, waving his hands, but the fact I couldn't feel him was a bit worrying. But they did tell me the reason I didn't feel kicks early on is that my placenta's at the front, so the placenta would have kind of impacted the kicks on the right hand side, and I always thought I only feel them on the left. Why is that? So I was a bit confused. So that was nice to know. So so I got more and more abdominal pains throughout Thursday, and then we rang 111, which is, in the UK, it's basically like an emergency number to check if you need to go to the emergency room before sort of wasting their time and your time. And they were quite dramatic, and they asked if I was in labour, and I was like, I don't think I'm in labour, I don't know, I've not been in labour. And they said they were going to send out an ambulance, and I said, that's ridiculous, don't send out an ambulance, there's somebody that really needs an ambulance, I can walk and talk. And Tom was with me, so he took me to the emergency room, where we sat for a few hours, and they were quite aggravating. They just said, why have you not just taken painkillers? And it was like, it wasn't the pain that was bothering me, it was the kind of spotting. I could deal with the pain. So they examined me, and then that was like 1:30 in the morning, we finally got seen. And then Friday, they gave me the early pregnancy scanning information, which I thought was weird anyway, because I'm 21 weeks, and the people on the phone were also a bit baffled, saying you're not early pregnancy anymore. So we got through to the midwives, and luckily they were like, we think everything's fine, but come in, we want you to feel okay. And they booked me in, and I went on Friday, and they just said I seemed quite tired and stressed out, but my tummy felt fine, and they put the Doppler on me, so I got to hear his heartbeat. As they went to touch me with the Doppler, he freaking kicked me, didn't he? And I was like, oh my God. Like, so typical, such a stubborn child. We think it was payback for the scan. So he's okay, and then as soon as we got home, we got the call about the house. So so I was a bit exhausted, and it was my birthday on Saturday, so we went to London to see Aladdin, which was great, really, really good, but it was a lot of walking, and I was just so exhausted from it all. And in between, we were trying to have phone calls with Barrett's to see if we could reserve another house, and they were saying no, even though we explained to them that if someone brought the house we were going to get, it will take 6 to 8 weeks for them to move in, when we could move in next week and complete. I don't get it. It absolutely baffles me still. So uploads are probably still going to be on my phone for a little bit, because everything's packed up, and we don't know what is happening, so we don't want to unpack and then repack or what. So that is basically what is happening at the moment. Little touch as well, I'm going to do a separate video about this. I've obviously shared my journey with you guys, and it's been great talking to everyone, and I love hearing from people, but I'm having people contact me asking me really important questions, so medical questions, like medical advice, things they should be doing, things about exercise. And yes, I am an exercise professional, but that is one-on-one. I work one-on-one, and if you had any issues like POF or bone or fertility or whatever, I would ask for doctor's information. But I'm getting people asking me what they should do an exercise plan, like just through my like general Facebook or Instagram, and what they particularly should eat and should they do XYZ, things I know nothing about. I will share my experience with you guys, but I'm never going to advise anything that can affect you or your treatment. So anything regarding specific exercise or specific nutrition or specific problems, you need to ask your consultants and your doctors, because each of us, even though we've got the same condition, all have our own story, all have our own biology, all have our own things. And I will happily discuss my experiences like I have on this channel and what I've done, but I've never really told people to do things medically. I've advised to have a dummy scan, or advised to have the time-lapse imaging, which we did, but that is advised. That hasn't really affected me, like it won't really affect you medically and your results. So again, I'm getting quite a lot of it. I'm getting loads of messages a day, and if I am slow to response, it is that I am having a few issues with the pregnancy and with working at the moment because I'm exhausted. So if you could email me rather than personally Facebook me, because I don't get much downtime because of my job as well, because people contact me all the time. But again, I'm happy to speak to everybody, but I really don't feel comfortable giving out medical advice, and I won't. And then when I say that, I feel like it might sound that I'm being really arsey, and it's not. But if you done something you thought I advised you to do and then it didn't work, or it caused some other issue, that's unfortunate for you and it'd make me feel terrible. So I really hope you guys understand that. I really, really love the fact that you feel like you can ask me questions, but just bear in mind, I'm just sharing my experiences and I'm not a medical professional and I've never claimed to be. I just like ranting and moaning to a camera. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. That is a little update. Well, I think it's 12 minutes long actually. So thank you. And I've got some Pilates videos, some pre and postnatal ones coming up, and I'm going to do some, well, actually you can use them if you're not pre and postnatal anyway. They will still work you and still work you well. So have a little look at them and you can see sort of what I do for a living. And you can see the weight gain on my bum. I swear he is growing in my bum. I swear. Right guys, see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.